Welcome, Jessica. We're here to get today with Jessica Green. Jessica is a user of a spinal implant that's a closed loop system. It's a new innovation device, and we're going to learn a little bit about her perspective. So, Jessica, we're excited to hear your story. Can you just introduce yourself real quickly?
My name is Jessica Green. I'm from Willow Grove, Pennsylvania, and I also just celebrated my birthday yesterday.
Yes, yay, happy birthday. So Jessica, you've been living with chronic pain. Can you tell us a little bit about how you ended up developing that chronic pain, or when you were diagnosed, and kind of what some of your first thoughts were?
Sure. I was hit by a drunk driver when I was 15, and I had some very, very severe broken bones, internal injuries, head injuries. I would have to say shortly after I had my accident is when they discovered I had the injury to my back, which developed into the, the nerve damage in my back. Mm-hmm. So I've pretty much tried about everything possible before they decided to implant the stimulator. And I'm at this point extremely happy that I was able to be the first person to have it done.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about the struggle that you went through with getting diagnosed properly, and some of the treatments that you've been through over the years to try to tackle or manage your chronic pain.
I absolutely told them from the very beginning I did not want to be on opioids. That was my biggest thing. I've seen what it can do to people, and I told them no way ever will I will try everything under the sun to not get on them. So I've done physical rehab, all different types of physical rehab. I did weight training. I've done basic physical therapy that you can do, like boosie balls, try to balancing, because I was having an issue with balance as well. They've done, several different types of medication. They did find one that did relieve the pain somewhat, but it wasn't perfect, and it didn't always take the pain away. I struggled basically with everyday life, with walking up steps, basically doing my job. I pretty much mustered through my day as best as I could. I would come home and be like, oh, I hurt so bad. And back rubs help, but they're not the greatest sometimes either. So
yeah, so activities that you do on a regular day, like walking up and down steps, or what about just activities of daily living, like sitting to stand or to get up and move around? How was it?
Very difficult. I'm also a crafter, so sitting for long periods of time in one position was very, very uncomfortable. Even standing making dinner was very difficult. Sometimes I'd be hunched over by the time I was halfway through making dinner, just trying to, get everything prepared to put into the oven or on the stove or whatever. And it was just incredibly difficult to deal with everything.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about how you found out about the stimulator, because you've been through a lot of physical therapies, and have you tried any other stimulation devices before you found out about this one?
Yeah, I did the TENS units, the external ones that they put on you and give the pulses. That just really didn't do anything. I tried creams and sprays and everything imaginable, and nothing ever worked. I mean, it might work for 10, 15 minutes, but then the pain would just come back again.
So when you first heard about this implant, what was your first reaction? And what were some of the things that you were thinking about when you first found out about this type of device?
I had found out about it a few years ago, and I was very interested and excited. I'm like, I wonder if this is going to work for me. I've tried pretty much everything else, and nothing really worked very well. I actually was in contact with someone who actually had one, and I'm like, oh my goodness, how do you like your stimulator? She's like, oh, I love my stimulator. It works really well for me. And then I kept hearing other opinions and everything else. I'm like,
A lot of times in development of devices, people always ask the question of what were the risks that you were willing to take for the benefit that you would get? So before getting implanted, now that you know the benefits, but even think of before you were implanted, what were some of those kind of risks you were concerned about and some of the benefits that you had imagined that you might have?
The only real risk that I was worried about was just because it was actually being implanted into my spine. Was there going to be an issue with if I move the wrong way? Am I going to pull something out? Or, if I get jostled the wrong way, is it going to harm it?
Was there something that you were expecting before you had the stimulator that didn't pan out, or something that you were expecting that maybe did happen that you weren't expecting? So was there like an aha or a moment that you had at all?
Not expecting to find relief so quickly after they turned it on. I basically went from a pain scale of an 8 to a 9 down to a 1 to a 2 immediately when they turned it on. I was just like, oh, thank goodness. And it felt so good to be able to just move without being in intense pain all the time.
Give me an example of something that would be really difficult for you to do before you had the stimulator.
Very difficult would be getting up and down, whether from a couch or even the floor. If I had to get down and clean up a mess off the floor, it really hard to get down and really hard to get back up. Now it's still a little hard to get down because my stimulator's new, but I'm still working on healing, but it's getting better. It's getting a lot easier to get up without hurting as much. I still hurt a little bit, but that's to be expected because it's still, relatively new device. So.
And how long have you had the device?
Let's see. Just about 3 months now. It'll be 3 months actually. It'll be 3 months in the beginning of next month.
Excellent. And so how was there anything in the surgical recovery process that you weren't expecting, or was just explain that kind of recovery process from when you went from surgery to when they turned it on?
I think the most difficult thing was just making sure not only that it was kept clean, because it's a very tough area because it's on your back and you have to be very careful not to bump your sutures to make sure nothing gets caught on them, as you're showering and changing. I think the worst thing for me was actually I wasn't expecting that much pain from the actual surgery, but I realized afterward that, okay, it was expected. I really wasn't ready for it. But I was okay with it.
Well, one of the stigmas of chronic pain is trying to get diagnosed, and talking to a lot of other people that have had and lived with chronic pain. Can you tell me a little bit about, just from a societal standpoint, some of the stigma that you went through in the finding treatment?
People say to me, "Oh, you don't look like you have anything wrong with you. Are you sure you're unwell?" I'm like, yes, I live with chronic pain every day. I hurt. I don't necessarily say I'm hurting because a lot of times nobody cares.
So what advice would you have for other people that are living with chronic pain, knowing from your experiences of living with this condition?
I would say just keep pursuing alternative treatments as opposed to just medicational treatments. Try discovering new things sometimes.
Well, Jessica, thank you for telling your story to us and helping us understand what it's like to live with chronic pain. And it's exciting to see your enthusiasm for getting a new stimulator. So thank you so much. To accompany the interview with Jessica, you will now see a demonstration of the closed-loop spinal cord stimulation system that she has implanted. In this video, there are 3 lines of recording, one at the top, the middle, and at the bottom left. The top line is a recording from the spinal cord response, or ECAP amplitude. ECAP stands for Evoked Compound Action Potentials. The middle line is the dynamic stimulation current. And then the bottom left line is the live ECAP recordings. What you will also see in this video are the changes between having the closed loop system on and then off, plus how a simple movement can spark a change in Jessica's pain intensity level. Jessica will first state her pain level with the closed loop system on at a 5, then when the closed loop system is off at an 8, and then when the closed loop system is back on at a 5. Here is your video.
What level of intensity is it running at right now?
Round to 5.
Okay. Could you do me a favor and look at the ceiling and then bring your chin back down to your chest? Yep. And look straight ahead now. And during that movement, did you feel it change at all?
Yes.
Okay, what was the intensity level when you...
Probably about around 8 to an 8.5.
Okay. Would you consider that to be uncomfortable at that level?
For a long period, yes.
Okay. And I haven't adjusted the output at all. So what intensity level is it running at right now?
Approximately around a 5.
Okay. And if you could look up at the ceiling and then bring your chin down to your chest one more time and then look straight ahead. And during that posture change, did you feel any change in the...
No, not at all.